So welcome everybody. Let me see if I can share my screen properly. I'm sharing this. Hopefully this comes through to you. Tell me if you're seeing my slides as well, please. Great. Okay, excellent. So yes, this presentation that I'm about to do is coming to you from the ancestral and current homelands of the Western Abenaki people and other indigenous peoples, but primarily Western Abenaki. I don't have as clear a focus as Simon's beautiful, eloquent focus on how to ameliorate the harms of colonization. But it is present in what we're going to talk about today, partly because part of how I view the project of orienting to our own desire is as a project of decolonization. Oops, looks like my slides are advancing on their own. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So I view that as, I view them as connected, and hopefully I'll be able to make a case for that, although that's not the central focus of our conversation today. So welcome to everyone. You may desire to have a way to record your thoughts. This could be any type of capture tool that you enjoy using. And I'd also like to say that everything I'm going to suggest here is completely optional. You are warmly invited to take up anything I suggest. You're warmly invited to modify in any way. I invite you to interrupt me at any time if you have questions, concerns, suggestions, anything like that. Completely open to that. So please do opt in, opt out, modify anything you want to, and take it according to your real needs and desires today in this moment. That's my invitation for you. And yeah, this is me. So this is you can see me on the screen, but you can also see me here. And if you're one of my former professors at Kenyon, then you already know what my face looks like. I'm Megan Pow Sheldon. I'm a coach, I'm a teacher. I come out of a social work background. I graduated from Kenyon with a degree in English. And I now practice as a holistic productivity coach with a particular emphasis on working with mid-career adults and college students who identify as neurodiverse, specifically those of us that wrangle with executive function challenges of one kind or another. Though I'll contextualize it by saying that executive function diversity is completely normal and great for our species. And so to consider any of that as a deficit is outside of where I want us to locate ourselves. So let's stay present. I'll invite you into an orienting, which is just a very simple way of becoming present together. There's a lot of people that I can't see on the screen, and that's okay if that's the way you really want it. Completely fine, and warm invitation to come on camera if that suits your needs, desires, and preferences today, because I love to be able to see people in person. So warm welcome, nice to see you all. Thich Nhat Hanh, a great Buddhist teacher, said that the survival of humankind depends on our ability to stop rushing. And when I recalled that in the context of this presentation, I invited myself to slow down as much as I can. And I'm a person who moves pretty fast. So if I'm moving uncomfortably fast for anyone, please flag that for me. In orienting, this is just a way of arriving in the space and confirming for ourselves that we're safe. So it's a super simple practice that we can use with students, and I invite you into it at any level that you want. It's incredibly simple. Literally all you do is if you're able to perceive visually, you look around, and if vision is not available to you today, you listen around or sense around with your skin. And you simply want to do this. The suggestion is to do this at a 360-degree total spherical, in a totally spherical way, looking also behind you, down, in front, around. You just want to receive the information of what your environment is, your physical environment is. And for most of us, the hope is that this will have the impact on the nervous system of helping us to settle and arrive. This won't be true for everybody all the time, but the hope is that your nervous system has now received information that you're in a physically safe location. So for most people in situations like this, it tends to have the effect of bringing us together a little bit and letting us know that we're in it together. So hopefully that's what happened for you. Now that we're oriented to where we are, I'll invite you to make a micro adjustment. What quality of attention do you desire to bring to this 20 minutes? So let's notice this isn't a question about how focused you are. It's not a question about whether I have your full attention. This is a question about how you want to be for the next 15 or 20 minutes or so, and what will best support that for you. And I invite you to use the lens of your own embodied delight and pleasure as you're considering that. And if it works for you, make a micro adjustment that will support what you want. So for me, I was inside. And then when I ran through this before presenting, I realized I wanted to be outside. So I'm outside now. Maybe that'll be true for you. Maybe you'll want to go off camera and take a walk as you listen. Maybe you'll want to weed your garden. Maybe you'll want to grab a seltzer, whatever it is, just inviting you into full permission about that. And we're practicing that today together in the context of this presentation, because we want to affirm for ourselves that there are bajillions of places where we have choice and we can choose something slightly more pleasurable. We can choose to make an adjustment. The reminding ourselves that we have choice and autonomy is an important component of feeling well for most of us. So why would we want to center pleasure? For some people I've talked to, can be a hard sell. For others, I don't need to have any explanation whatsoever because it feels really intuitive to people. My thinking on it is just this: we're doing burnout prevention. We're enhancing potentially the quality of the work that gets done by well-nourished humans. And we're enjoying mystery and delight. And I also want to just remark on how this can seem to be a very privileged point of view. To bring pleasure into our workplace can feel incredibly privileged. And there's no doubt that this is much easier for some of us than it is for others for a variety of institutional and systemic reasons. If we hold a marginalized identity, this can get problematized all over the place in ways that it might not for somebody who holds a position, a social location that's more privileged. So no question there. I'm absolutely aligned with that. And we want this for all human beings all over the planet. We want everybody, no exceptions, to be able to track to our own delight. And so for those of us who have enough leverage to do so regularly, I think we want to do it because we want to exercise what we want for everybody. And I think sometimes we see ourselves, sometimes we can get a bit more constrained than we actually are. So let's embrace the fact that we have some choices. And as Dr. Ticha reminded us yesterday, if you're not good, you're not good. So we are of less use to our students when we are not well nourished and well provided for. And part of that is attending to our own pleasure. So this is my cat. And the red nose is not in the actual real life situation, but the songbird collar is. And so I just want to invite you to welcome in the part of you that's willing to play with things like paradox and polarity, the part of you that is able to tolerate imperfection in your work and in your thinking and in this presentation and in your presenter and all that. And you can sort of give yourself a guiding reason around that if you need to, if your intellect wants that, if that's a pleasure for you, please do. And now, here we go. 60-second brainstorm. So this is where you're going to capture every pleasure you can think of for you. This could be a sensory pleasure. It could be an intellectual pleasure, a spiritual pleasure, relational, anything you might want. For some people, this feels incredibly triggering and unbelievably scary. Please take care of yourself. If this is not for you, it's not for you. But if it is, go. And I know that's a very short amount of time. So warm welcome to keep on writing, keep on documenting, capturing as I'm talking and as we go through. And if you would like to share and you feel interested in that and excited by that, and that feels like a pleasure, feel free to unmute and do so. Just one or two of the pleasures that you identified. And if you don't want to, that is completely fine. And please don't. And it looks like the spirit is to not share by unmuting, which is totally fine. I'll just share that some of the pleasures that I identified when I did this earlier were reading good fiction every day, reading good nonfiction every day, drinking seltzer, walking outside with my dog, myself, teaching dance fitness, going to dance fitness classes, doing yoga, getting takeout on Friday nights. The list could go on and on. So, oops, wait a minute. Oh, did it do it? Did it advance? Why is it? Okay, little minor tech. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay, my mistake. Excuse me. Here we go. There we go. Okay. So now, holding on to the concept of tracking your own pleasure, I'm just going to bring in a couple of intellectual ideas quickly to background, and we'll background them because we're not going to stay deeply intellectually focused. So executive function theory, the one that I like about the framework that I like best is Dawson and Gore, which will be in the resources slide at the end. When we think about executive function, we're talking about the prefrontal cortex that helps to organize time, space, tasks, projects, things like that. For some of us, certain pieces of that are a lot more complicated and a lot harder than for others. And under stress, we all, as humans, tend to have little areas that degrade a little bit or that look a little different. It's also totally context dependent. So in higher ed, in academia in the United States in 2023, after 3 years of pandemic stress and everything else, that context is a powerful container of stress for a lot of people. So a lot of people's executive function skills may be looking a little different than they were 3 years ago. So thinking about that and embracing your personal preferred work style is a way of tracking on your own pleasure. So for example, for me, I work to deadline. It's a blessing and a curse, but it is what it is. And I can either struggle against that and try to improve, which I do, or I can realize that 2 days before an important event, I'm going to need to fill my calendar with things that I absolutely don't have to attend so that no one else can block into it and I can ditch all that stuff and do the thing I should have been doing for 6 weeks. And the other thing to presence is your sensory diet. So this is a concept that I first learned in like autism and disability rights, where human bodies like to receive certain types of sensory input on a regular cadence. Everybody's different, but all of us have some sensory needs. And if we leave them unmet, it's much harder to do the things that are challenging for us, especially. So for me, I have a need for a lot of sensory input. So I need to exercise every day. I need to do weight bearing stuff. I need to eat spicy, crunchy, hot, salty food. I need plenty of sleep. I need a lot of water. I need all these baseline nourishment things. And I also need like physical input. So I massage for me is like not a luxury. It is a luxury, but it's also a necessity for my sensory diet. So for me to keep myself high functioning, these are some of the things that I need. So invitation to you to consider that as we move forward, what your sensory diet might want to look like. And then thinking about nervous system state. My thinking about this has been really influenced by polyvagal theory, particularly Deb Dana's teachings around it. The autonomic nervous system is the part of our nervous system that regulates breathing, heart rate, temperature, things like that. It's very connected with the limbic system and it's very responsive to perceived threat. And so what the autonomic nervous system state means is sometimes we're feeling, we're in a state that they call ventral vagal, which is like safe and connected, or safe enough, connected enough to be able to do curious, creative thinking, kind of like what Simon was setting up for by having the values exercise and doing the prospectus for students. That's one way that in his framework, he may be setting students up to feel better regulated in the classroom and therefore more able to be successful. And sometimes our nervous system is really high, what they call like a, I can't remember, blanking on the polyvagal name right now, but hyper. So if you're hyper activated, you might be having too much energy in the system, too much stimulation coming in. You might feel overly excited. If you're hypo, you might not be able to motivate for the work you want to do. And you're kind of, they call it dorsal vagal. It's like you can't get enough mobilization to do the things that you most want to do. So remembering that thoughts, stories, and behavior arise from our nervous system state. So if you've ever been feeling bummed and then suddenly everything is horrible and you might need to relieve your relationship and your job, then that's a moment when your autonomic nervous system state has deeply influenced your thinking. So doing that. So now we said we might want to have your calendar handy. So you have your list of pleasures, you have your calendar. The invitation is to just take a brief moment, take a scan through your next week or month or day, and see what we're looking at in terms of your delight that you can foresee upcoming. Your calendar may not be the only reflection of this, but since we're talking about our professional lives, we'll take a look there. What you're looking for is, do I have enough delight? And is there anything I could just get rid of because I don't want to do it or it doesn't please me? Is there anything I could alter for the sake of my own pleasure and well-being? And my invitation here is to actually make the change that you would like to make right here and now. If you're willing and able, if you see anything that needs adjustment, my invitation is to adjust it. And I know this, you could probably spend an hour doing this. So I'll gently invite comments about how this is going so far. Just a brief bottom line, if you're willing. Is anybody finding anything that they are? Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm suddenly conscious that my next week is going to involve a lot of attention to relationships that are really important to me, and I'm super looking forward to that. And it's going to get in the way of my normal level of physical activity. And I don't know if I can actually change my calendar to make that less true, but I can be conscious of it.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Yeah. Gorgeous thing to notice. And maybe there's a way to integrate the two, perhaps one of your favorite relationships could involve a hike or something like that. Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. Well, then let's just consider that everybody might have found something. Now, as you're doing that, some people, as you're doing the calendar candy, I call it calendar candy, the calendar candy activity, you may have found that some voices came into your head and had some things to say. Other than the voice of your pleasure, desire, sovereignty, excitement, it's possible you found that some other voices were in there as well, because for a lot of people, it's kind of provocative. If you found that there was some some chorus of everybody of what everyone will think, I learned this from Martha Beck, who's like an OG in the life coaching world and an author some of whose books I really like. She posited that we can just develop a new everybody. If the everybody that is in your head is saying things like you really shouldn't do blah blah blah, and is having a confining and constraining effect on you, you can simply recruit a new everybody. Yes. So this is my new everybody. So my crew is constantly changing, but many of the people that you are seeing are either theorists or authors or my very favorite Zumba teachers or colleagues and friends. And let's go back. And so this is who I listen to. This is my board that I run things by. So if I'm deciding on whether I'm going to do something, these are the people I'm thinking of. And yeah, so that's a suggestion. And so my question for you here is, what's one shift? Joe has already beautifully stated that he's going to give a thought to what's going on for him next week with physical activity. What's one pleasure centering adjustment that you intend or desire to make as a result of this conversation? And if I could figure out where my chat is, I would ask you to put it in the chat. Oh, wait a minute. I think I can figure this out. No, I can't seem to. Oh, yes, I can. Great. Okay, awesome. So you can drop it in the chat if you prefer, or you can unmute and just say what's one pleasure centering adjustment you want to make as a result of this conversation. And remember, this is about your deepest contribution. This is not frivolous, and it's not intended to be a way of enacting a colonizer mentality where we do whatever we want at whatever cost to the world or the environment. This is not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is allowing the internal freedom, choice, and sovereignty that will leave you fully well and nourished so that you can do the work that you're here to do. Ooh, scent warmer, making your home office more cozy and comfortable. You can focus better and feel happier when you're cozy. Love it. Great example of a really simple upgrade that could make a profound difference for you. Beautiful. Anything else? I see a lot of thoughtful faces. I feel a lot of thoughtful energy. Oh, yes. Somebody's going to ask someone what you can do to make them happier. Oh, wow. Awesome. Yeah. And and suggesting more walking meetings. Thank you. Yes, please. Definitely. Yes, for sure. Yep. Suggest more walking meetings. Cool. Yep. Good. I wonder if there's anything that anybody is thinking about that's specific about your sensory diet or embracing your true work habits. Anything happening for people there? And it's okay if not. Because one of the things that we say in my corner, my niche of the coaching field is that the best coaching, the bulk of the coaching, the bulk of the work gets done between sessions. So we'll consider this a session and we'll assume that the bulk of your transformative work may happen after this if you choose for it to. Yeah, interact with more people during your day. Yes, profound. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Leaning into more movement when you can during work. Yeah. More walking meetings, embroidering during meetings. I love that. Yes. Walking while reading for book clubs. Yes. It's true. Remembering and recalling more when yes, totally. When hands are busy is a real thing. And it's true for many of us, not all of us, but it's true for many of us. Yeah. So this is an invitation just to choose a talismanic reminder of who you are, what you're becoming, what you're after, the energetic and emotional states you want to inhabit. So for me, this mug, like this picture of the mug probably doesn't mean that much to you. It means a whole lot to me because it's like my favorite. It's got all this significance attached to it. And likewise, the shells like probably doesn't mean, it's not a very potent signifier for everyone else, but for me it is. So I invite you to choose something for yourself that will help you keep hold of what you want. And in that spirit, what, if anything, do you desire to take with you from today? What's been useful, provocative, intriguing? What curiosities remain? How might you explore them? So remember, this is for you. So not so much for performing for other people, but for you, the invitation is to record in some way some of your thinking about this. And of course, you can always replay this and pause for the slide. And then this is just some resources. These are some of the thinkers who have influenced my development. In 20 minutes is not a lot of time to consolidate and distill things down. So I really invite you to explore a lot of these thinkers' further thoughts in this direction. And yeah, if there's time, I'm happy to take questions now. I'm also happy to be available afterward. So, phew, that was a romp right through a couple of big ideas, but here we are. Are there any questions you'd like to ask now? Anything you want to raise at this time? No. Help me see other people's sensory diet needs as real needs and not just preferences. Thank you. This helps me because it makes me less aggravated with telling me. Yes. Amen. Yes. So that's the transfer. Yes. That's where the transfer can be really potent for community good, family good, relational good. Because yes, needs, preferences, these things can get a little foggy in our mind sometimes. And recognizing that sensory needs are quite real and have a distinctive impact on our ability to work is really powerful. Oh, learning about neurodivergency in general. Yes, has helped you in this way. Yes, I agree. I feel the same way. Is this just for us individually, or do you coach others or educate your clients to bring this into their classrooms? Yeah, the answer is both. So I come out of an instructional background. I was a K-12 educator for 13 years. Then I moved into instructional coaching, so focused on teachers in that setting, improving instructional practice. Then I trained as a generalist coach, and now I have a focus on holistic productivity, and I do academic coaching at Champlain, primarily student facing, but also some faculty work. So both and all, yes, to all of that. And in my private practice, I mostly work with mid-career adults and college students. Yep. Yeah. Other questions or concerns or curiosities? Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you, Joe, for inviting me to be here. Thank you
so much, Megan. I'm really intrigued, and I may actually be citing this presentation and one I hope to be giving later on.
Yay, feel free to call me, whatever.
I think there's a lot in faculty development which we kind of do as kind of like honey roasted broccoli. It's like you have to eat your vegetables, so I can make it a little more pleasant. And actually thinking about it not as either like alleviation of like I do a lot of, you got to eat lunch anyway, you should let me buy it for you. I'm like, what if we centered the pleasure of having someone else feed you at the Center for Innovative Pedagogy instead of just kind of, well, it's better than eating leftovers while you check your email.
Completely. And remember that we're not just talking about the pleasures that are really obvious. We're also talking about the pleasures of deep confrontational work. We're talking about the pleasures of conflict. We're talking about the pleasures of difficulty that's relational that we're going to work through. It's not, pleasure is not the way I hold pleasure is that we're not talking about stuff that's easy or awesome all the time. We're talking about the deep pleasures of our lives, including grief and sorrow and everything else.
Well, you talked about exercise, and like lifting heavy things is not inherently pleasurable. We
maybe not for you.
we add it in there. And I think similarly, like a hard intellectual task.
Yeah.
It's not inherently pleasurable. We find the pleasure in it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks very much, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording.